We begin this hour with a conversation with a gentleman we've had on the program several times here in the past few months. Of course, the attorney for Randy Henry, Mr. Chet Pleban, is joining us. Mr. Pleban, good to have you back with us. Good morning.
Well, good morning, Kevin. Good to be with you.
Good to have the opportunity to talk with you. And again, I know in talking with a number of listeners, they just wanted me to convey my thanks and the thanks of all of them to you as well for keeping on top of this and keeping us on top of the whole situation with Randy Henry. And as always, when we talk to you, it's normally because of some new developments. What can you tell us about where we are now and where things are possibly headed?
Well, the latest in this frustrating episode, which is becoming increasingly more frustrating as we proceed, the latest is the attempt by Amanda Grellner, who is the complainant against Randy Henry. She refuses to have her deposition taken, or I should rephrase that. She will allow her deposition to be taken as long as I don't ask her questions about the nature of the complaint that she filed against Randy Henry. Now, let me read to you the actual complaint that Randy received that Grellner filed on March the 13th, 2015. It says the complainant, Ms. Amanda I. Grellner, alleges Sergeant Randall R. Henry, through his employment as a member of the Missouri State Highway Patrol, obtained information concerning an investigation which involved a member of her family. Ms. Grellner said information provided to her indicates Sergeant Henry disseminated the information in a manner intended to discredit her and by doing so failed to safeguard confidential information. So, on the basis of that complaint, which then ultimately resulted in charges of being filed against Randy Henry, for which there will be a trial in Jefferson City on September the 28th and 29th, I sought to take the deposition of the complainant, Amanda Grellner. I want to ask her questions about the complaint. I want to ask her questions about this investigation of a member of her family, which turns out to be her son, based upon information with which we have been provided by the Missouri State Highway Patrol. Lo and behold, I get a correspondence from her lawyer. Well, she's hired a lawyer. That's fine. Hire the lawyer. The lawyer tells me, look, I will let her sit for a deposition. You just can't ask her any questions about that investigation that was done by the Missouri State Highway Patrol that involved her family member, i.e. her son. Mm-hmm. I said, well, I obviously can't agree to that. And so I said, I'm going to go ahead and subpoena your client to give a deposition. So I had an administrative, it's a Highway Patrol subpoena. The lawyer agreed to accept service of that subpoena. On August the 25th, I sent a letter to this lawyer telling him, here's your subpoena. It's my understanding that you'll accept service and you do not intend to honor the subpoena in light of my refusal to honor your request to limit this particular deposition. So that subpoena goes out. The deposition is scheduled for September the 3rd. She is a no-show on September the 3rd. Now, meanwhile, this lawyer is telling me, listen, you have to have the circuit court enforce an administrative subpoena, the patrol subpoena, all right? You have to go to the circuit court. And so he's telling me, hey, listen, I'll accommodate you if you want to go to the circuit court. Well, I don't want to go to the circuit court. If this lady, who is the complainant, is not going to sit for a deposition, then why are we having the charges? If the complainant herself doesn't want to proceed with this and answer questions about the complaint that she filed against this officer that has ruined his career, then dismiss the charges. So then what happens is on Friday, September the 4th, late in the day, the Friday before Labor Day, a holiday, I get a copy of a lawsuit. The lawsuit is filed in Jefferson City in Cole County by this lawyer who is representing Amanda Grellner. And the lawsuit says, we don't want the deposition. We're going to move to quash the deposition, or they want a protective order so that I can't ask any questions about the very complaint that Grellner filed. Now, I might add, Grellner gave a comprehensive statement to professional standards. This is before any of the charges were brought against Randy Henry. She agreed to talk, voluntarily agreed to talk to professional standards. Her son, Garrett Grellner, was interviewed at length by professional standards. Both of them talked about the circumstances surrounding the investigation that was conducted by the Missouri State Highway Patrol and a Stacy Mosier, involving the rape of a 14-year-old in which her son was a suspect. So I get this lawsuit late Friday. On Tuesday, the next work day, I'm out of the office in the afternoon. I get a telephone call from my secretary who says there's some judge and he wants you to call him. So I have no idea what this is about. I call the number that I was given. It goes to voicemail. Now, understand that Randy Henry has not even been served with this lawsuit. It goes to voicemail. The next thing I know is later that night, I guess, I'm getting an order from the court in Jefferson City it's a temporary order quashing the deposition of Amanda Grellner, the complainant. Now, I wasn't heard at that hearing. The lawyer for Amanda Grellner only was heard at that hearing. I have no idea what that lawyer told that judge. But I do know this, that according to the lawsuit that was filed, they admit they don't know anything about the case that's pending with the patrol. So I'm not sure how they can take a position that I can't ask questions about the very complaint that his client filed and talked to the patrol about. So in any event, I file a motion with the patrol, and I say, listen, I don't care if she doesn't want to be deposed about the very complaint that she filed. You need to dismiss this. So that motion is currently pending. That motion has not been heard yet. The motion, you'll recall that way back about 4 weeks ago now, we had a hearing in Jefferson City at the general headquarters of the patrol regarding a motion to disqualify the Attorney General for a conflict, a motion to dismiss the allegations because Randy Henry is a whistleblower and has whistleblower protection, and a motion to disqualify the captain who was appointed as the kind of hearing officer in this case after the first captain recused himself mysteriously. And this new captain now has a connection. His boss is a major who is named individually in the Ellingson drowning lawsuit. So all three of those issues have not been ruled upon yet. I can't get a deposition from Amanda Grellner because the court unilaterally has blocked that. And Randy Henry's trial is scheduled for September the 28th. Other than that, Kevin, I'm not doing a thing.
Well, in all the things that you've sat here and said in the brief period that we've been on the air, I don't know about you, but I'm dizzy right now. It just seems as though any opportunity to squash this thing and make Randy Henry's life a little bit easier is just not going to happen. We need to step in and take a break, and I will say going into the break that this is kind of starting to get a little bit more interesting, and not just from the state level, but possibly the national level. And when we return, Mr. Pleban, we'll talk a little bit about that, if that's all right.
That's great. Mm-hmm.
Very good. Chet Pleban, the attorney for Randy Henry, on the Morning Magazine this morning, and it does get a little bit more interesting from here, folks. If you have any questions or comments, we may have time to take a few of those phone calls at 302-7000, 877-330-1150. You can also send your remarks via email to live@krmsradio.com.
Have you noticed any leaking, cracking, or sinking at your home or business? Maybe you have a little bit of water or moisture in the basement? Well, there's only one place to call at the lake for concrete repair problems. That's Midwest Basement Tech. 35 years in the concrete repair industry means they know what they're doing. And if you have work scheduled now, you'll save 10% through October 1st. Call for a free inspection and estimate from the local company Midwest Basement Tech. 573-693-9448. MidwestBasementTech.com.
Hey parents and students, start the school year off right and switch to the fastest internet available, Spectrum Internet. Just call 844-893-2999. With speeds up to 60 megabits per second, you'll have enough bandwidth for the whole family. Homework projects will be done in a blast, and you can be assured you're browsing the web safely and securely with Security Suite, included free with Spectrum Internet. And you'll always have the freedom of unlimited internet. We don't limit your internet with data caps or extra fees. You can get this all for just $29.99 a month when you bundle. Just call 844-893-2999. Small business owner? Now is also the perfect time for you to switch to Spectrum Business Internet. At 60 megabits per second, you'll get the speed, bandwidth, and reliability you need to have a powerful impact on your productivity, so you can be on time for your kid's soccer game. Switch to Spectrum Internet, all the speed you need for your home or business. Just call 844-893-2999. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
Welcome to Subway. What can I make for you?
I want to mix things up a bit.
How about one of our delicious Reuben sandwiches? Loaded with your choice of tender corned beef or oven-roasted turkey breast.
I like where you're going with this.
They're fresh toasted with melty Swiss cheese and topped with sauerkraut and Thousand Island dressing. All on your choice of freshly baked bread.
Sounds perfect.
Coming right up. The Subway Reubens won't be here long, so try one today. Subway. Eat fresh.
Limited time only at participating restaurants.
Is your identity protected? Do you know if someone is using your personal information for their benefit? You might get a notice from the IRS or find unfamiliar accounts on your credit report. Why wait till it's too late? Identity theft is the fastest growing crime in the U.S. At First National Bank, we care about your identity. That's why we're now offering gold and platinum checking accounts, which include identity theft protection. If you're looking for a basic free checking account, no worries. We still have you covered with our Express checking account. Stay tuned for more information on the many great benefits First National Bank has to offer. First National Bank, member FDIC.
The controversial Keystone Pipeline bill.
Charlie Hebdo, a satirical magazine, has been attacked.
News Talk 1150, KRMS.
9:26 is our time. Thanks for joining us on the Morning Magazine here on KRMS. Coming up next hour, we'll talk things over with Professor Jim Paisley from Columbia College. We'll discuss the Syrian refugee crisis and how it could very easily affect us not only here in the United States, but very close to home, right here in the state of Missouri. Our guest, Chet Pleban, he's the attorney for Randy Henry. You and I talked, Mr. Pleban, a little bit prior to our conversation here this morning about how this could very well take on a national approach with some lawmakers getting involved. Certainly up in Iowa, we've heard Chuck Grassley's name tossed around. Some other lawmakers and even the Department of Justice being involved in this. And I would think at this particular point, those people that are trying to slow this whole process and hinder it as they have would maybe want to kind of perk up and pay attention a little bit, because things could get a little rougher for them down the road.
Yes, I have. I spoke last week with a staffer from the United States Senate Judiciary Committee. That committee is chaired by Senator Chuck Grassley, as you said. And the basis of my conversation with him was a letter that was sent to William S. Say, S-E-A-Y, who now apparently is the attorney who is looking into the criminal aspects of the tragic death of Brandon Ellingson. This letter, dated September the 2nd, requests various information from Mr. Say, not the least of which is what is the current status of the Brandon Ellingson investigation into his death from a criminal perspective. So it's been over a year, and nothing has done. Nothing has moved forward. Any statute of limitations that would pertain to any misdemeanor allegation of criminal misconduct, that is long gone. So I don't know what the new prosecutor is doing. I know what the old prosecutor did and didn't do in connection with this investigation. And now the Senate is saying, wait a minute, we want some answers to this. We deserve some answers to this. And a copy of that letter, which, by the way, they gave this lawyer, Mr. Say, until October the 1st to respond, a copy of it went to the Honorable Loretta Lynch, who is the Attorney General General of the United States, the Justice Department.
Mm-hmm.
And so, now here's what you have, all right? You've got a situation where the criminal aspects of Brandon Ellingson's death are hanging out there, unresolved. You have a situation where there is a rape investigation done by the Missouri State Highway Patrol a couple of years ago without any resolution for a young 14-year-old girl who was raped. So, what are we doing? So what, we don't investigate, we only investigate things we want to? We don't investigate things in their totality? This is just ridiculous. And in the meantime, nothing's happening to the very person who put the wrong life jacket on Brandon Ellingson, yet Randy Henry is being pursued in terms of internal allegations. And I might add, all of this, he was transferred from his home at the North Shore of the Lake of the Ozarks down to Truman Lake. He has until December, early December sometime, to move. So that means that he needs to uproot his family and move down to Truman Lake. His kids are still in school, and I suspect that this is an effort that's designed to force him to retire, because he's been with the patrol 29 and a half years, Water Patrol, now Highway Patrol, and is eligible to retire. So I don't know what's going on with all of this. It just seems to me to be a bit ridiculous. And as I said, the latest piece of ridiculous aspects to this is the fact that the very complainant is refusing to be deposed. And I don't care. If she doesn't want to be deposed and talk about the very complaint that she filed, what do I care? I don't care about that. Dismiss the complaint. That's her remedy. And for a person that wanted, she's the one that went to the patrol. She's the one that said to the patrol, leave no stone unturned. Go ahead and investigate, this case. Investigate this rape of this poor little 14-year-old. Leave no stone unturned. And so I have said before that the patrol, when you read the deposition of Stacey Mosier, clearly, there were boulders that are still in place. And so there are many, many, many aspects of this that cry out for an investigation that was never, ever done. So rather than complain about Randy Henry, she needs to complain, Grellner needs to complain about the inadequate investigation that the Missouri State Highway Patrol did regarding the rape of that 14-year-old, which, by the way, that rape occurred in Grellner's jurisdiction. And I've seen no evidence whatsoever that Grellner, speaking of recusing yourself and disqualifying yourself, I see no evidence that Grellner recused herself in connection with her prosecutorial authority in Osage County as it relates to that particular issue involving the rape of that 14-year-old.
I wonder if, and it's rather interesting in talking to you about all of these different things, and it seems almost obvious that this is being drug out as long as it possibly can to exhaust Randy Henry's maybe financial ability to continue to fight. Also to see if maybe at this point where he is expected to possibly move down to the Truman Lake area, and he'll just say, you know what, forget it, it's just not worth it. But the one thing that I have never heard in all of this, and I don't know if there was any attempt to do this initially, is any type of a smear campaign against him, anything that they could dig up or bring up against him. So it seems again to me like Randy Henry, through his service with the Highway Patrol, has been an exemplary officer and an exemplary trooper over the years, and done what is expected of him, and has conducted himself in such a way that it meets the approval of the officials there, the higher-ups, the people that are in charge of the Missouri State Highway Patrol overall. And the thing about it is, and we've touched on this as well, Mr. Pleban, is the fact that there were mistakes made, and if people would just go back and admit the mistakes, maybe all of this would go away. But now you're tempting fate by possibly bringing in the Department of Justice and certainly getting some focus from a Senate Judicial Committee that could step in and maybe take some of these roadblocks out of the way and get this process moving a little quicker.
Well, I look at this, and I've been involved in a lot of cases in the 41 years that I've been in this crazy business, and you're absolutely correct. I think that they're stretching it out. It's costing Randy Henry a lot of money. Now we're in another lawsuit in Cole County filed by Amanda Groner. Now they want documents, and so I get this morning a notice that I've got to be in Jefferson City on Friday, which I can't be in Jefferson City on Friday. I mean, I haven't even entered an appearance as Randy's lawyer in that case. So I think that when you take a step back and you look at it, the death of Brandon Ellingson is crying out for some type of justice, both in the civil setting as well as in the criminal setting. I think that when you look at it as well for the case of that young 14-year-old who was raped a couple of years ago, that case is crying out for justice that has not been afforded to that young girl and to her family. In both instances, Kevin, that's just plain wrong. It's wrong. And you let the chips fall where they may. If the patrol did a poor investigation in that rape case, fine. Step up to the plate and say so, and get the correct it with a proper investigation. If the patrol messed up with respect to the drowning death of Brandon Ellingson, step up to the plate, admit your failures, get it done. Get it done. That's the right thing to do. Instead, we got a bunch of lawyers playing games. We got a bunch of lawyers running around filing lawsuits. We got a bunch of lawyers, having ex parte conversations with judges. You wonder why people look at our profession the way that they do. There's some examples.
9:36 is our time. I do certainly appreciate your time as always, Mr. Pleban, and I know that if anything comes across, anything we need to add to this in the coming weeks, that we'll definitely be more than happy to get you back on here.
I appreciate it, Kevin. Thanks for everything.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. That's Mr. Chet Pleban, the attorney for Randy Henry, and that is where things are with this case at the current time. Again, with the possibility now of some national attention being put on this particular case for one reason or another. You've got Chuck Grassley that's looking into it. Of course, there has been a number of folks up in Iowa to really try to apply pressure, and the Department of Justice has been contacted, I think, on several different occasions in the Ellingson drowning. But back to where we are now with Randy Henry, we are just trying to, I guess, make sense of all of this, and it sounds like there is quite a bit in the way of the runaround going on here. Will this be something that is taken care of and taken care of here in the near future, or will it continue to be something that lingers on? I guess only time will tell. But again, going back to what we had said initially, if there were mistakes made, admit the mistakes and move on. Don't try to cover it up. Don't try to sweep it under the rug. Don't try to act like it didn't happen, because eventually all of this is going to come to a head in some way, shape, or fashion. And I would imagine the longer it takes, the worse it's going to be for people that could simply step in and do something and right this on a number of different levels. 9:38 is our time. Let's take the opportunity to take a break. We'll come back, take some phone calls up to the top of the hour on KRMS.
This is Bill Lacasse, owner of SRG Financial Advisors. Are you retired or about to retire? Do you have a plan in place to deal with the complex issues of retirement, or are you just going to react to potential problems as they arise? You deserve a second opinion. Call my office for a free consultation. Find out what the possibilities are. Call 302-7212. That's 302-7212. Remember, 302-7212. I am an investment advisor representative offering securities through USA Financial Securities, member FINRA SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
If your club, group, or civic organization has an event it would like broadcast on KRMS or 93.5 Rocks, send it at least 3 weeks in advance to psa@krmsradio.com. The community calendar is sponsored by Central Missouri Building Inspections, Papa Wheelie's Pizzeria, JJ's at the Copper Pot, Mills & Sons Insurance, RJ's Family Restaurant, Mid-Missouri Credit Union, Tire Biters Bar and Grill, and Lake Collision Repair, and is presented by KRMS and 93.5 Rocks.
Would you like exceptional health care, 24 hours, 7 days a week, with a family physician for one low monthly fee? At Direct Primary Care Clinics, a single membership is only $100, 2 people $150, and a household of 4 under $170. We do not take insurance, so there's no copay. You have unlimited office visits and discounts on medications. Call Direct Primary Care Clinics at 417-664-5054 or visit dpcareclinics.com.
Hi, it's KB from my friends at Hewlett Chevrolet Buick GMC, North Business Route 5 in Camdenton, or shophewlett.com. You know, now is the perfect time to buy. Hewlett's has got so many great deals going on, including their price match guarantee. I know we've talked about it, but it's something you really need to check into for yourself. 2015 Buicks, GMCs, Chevrolets, all at the best possible price you can find anywhere. And if you find a better price, tell the folks at Hewlett, and they will match that price, get you out the door and into a vehicle lickety-split. Plus, the 2015s, well, they're moving those out as well because it's time to make room for 2016. So that definitely means more great opportunities for you to get great deals on great wheels at Hewlett Chevrolet Buick GMC. Now is the time, folks. I'm telling you what, the deals are phenomenal. Stop in and see them, North Business Route 5 in Camdenton, or don't forget, as always, you'll find them online at shophewlett.com. Join Don Doyle with All Shores Electric this Saturday on KRMS for Ask the Expert. You're invited to call in and have your questions answered. Electrical safety is of the utmost importance. For free deck inspections, residential, commercial, service upgrades, or anything pertaining to electrical work, All Shores Electric serves the entire lake area. Tune in every Saturday for Ask the Expert and join All Shores Electric this Saturday to discuss electrical issues and have your questions answered on News Talk 1150 KRMS.
I have no more campaigns to run. I know because I won both of them.
Talking points, not serious solutions.
News Talk 1150 KRMS.
9:41 is our time. Coming up in hour number 2, we'll talk things over with Professor Jim Paisley from Columbia College in regards to the Syrian refugee crisis. It's a very interesting situation regarding what's going on in other countries when it comes to these refugees and who's allowing them into their country and who is not allowing them into their country. 9:41 is our time. Let's go to the phones. Caller, I appreciate you holding on. You're on KRMS. Good morning.
Thanks, KB. I just want to know, where in the hell does the governor or the attorney general, where's he standing in this? Why don't they step forward and do something?
Good question, and I wish I could give you an answer.
It's a damn shame because now every time somebody hears this program, sees one of those troopers driving up and down the highway, they're going to think bad of them, and they're going to be labeled just like whoever's guilty on this, and it's the higher up in that division, and it's a shame. And they got balls enough to go out, and now they're going to do boater safety classes throughout the state. What a joke.
Well, I think, and we had an opportunity to talk earlier in the year with some of the members of both those troopers that are on land and on the lake, and I think obviously based on what happened with the Brandon Ellingson situation, the goal was to go back, look at this, and to try and do what they could do to not allow something like this to happen again. We talked to several of the folks, and I don't want to name names, but the deal is they want to go back and they want to better train the officers. Initially, when this merger took place, it was to try and save money. That was the ultimate goal, and I guess the governor, that was his selling point, is that we'll get them and merge it together, and in the process we'll save money. Well, obviously now, if the civil lawsuit goes through, that's not going to be the case, and I would imagine that money that they planned on saving will go to the family if they were to win the civil case. So And as far as labeling any of the troopers that you see on the land or on the lake, I'll say right up front that should not happen for any reason. There's a good possibility they'll catch some of the flack from it, but those men and women that are out on the water and out on the land, out on the roads doing their jobs, they have no stake in this game at all. So it does gravitate to the higher ups, and unfortunately, those are probably the people we won't be hearing a lot from.
I agree with you 100%, KB, and you know what I think of law enforcement.
No, I know you do, yeah.
And I'm behind all of them 100%, but it's a damn shame that is going to happen, and you know it will.
Well,
it's human nature, and that's how people are going to think. But, our governor sits back, and rides around in this $3 million jet that the Highway Patrol bought for him. And the Attorney General, I mean, that's what they were elected for, to control these people. He's the head honcho in that outfit.
All right.
I just think it's a damn shame.
I appreciate
Good
your
show,
phone call.
my friend. Good show.
Thank you, sir. And I have to credit, obviously, Chet Pleban for all of this and his intensive work on trying to do something to help out Randy Henry and to hopefully get this all straightened out. But again, you have to go back to the fact that the men and women that are out on the water and out on the roads doing their jobs, they're just doing their jobs. They have no stake in this. So to label them in any way, shape, or form would be wrong. And again, those folks are just doing what they're supposed to be doing when they're out there. 9:45 is our time. Let's go back to the phones. Caller, go ahead. You're on KRMS.
Well, the last caller had it nailed it pretty well. The joke is on us. When the merger was first announced, the governor gave the head of the Highway Patrol, who is now retired, the order to merge and train. Nothing happened for 3 years, and that individual was allowed to quietly retire after the accident. And now the state of Missouri and our taxpayers, that's me, are on the hook for probably many, many millions of dollars. So thank you, Missouri Highway Patrol Chief, and I won't name his name, but you know who I'm talking about, who quietly retired on a nice pension, and we get stuck with the bill of goods. It's a shame.
Thank you for your phone call. 9:46 is our time. Let's go back to the phones. Caller, good morning. You're on KRMS.
Good morning. It's a shame all this has happened and that somebody died in it. And we need to train people probably. I mean, we all can be a little more trained. But we forget the thing that I believe he was under the influence of one or two drugs, which makes it a little more difficult to arrest somebody on the water when they're resisting or fighting it. And I just hope we don't lose sight of that also.
All right. Thank you for your phone call. 9:46 is our time. Caller, good morning. You're on KRMS.
Yeah, KB, good morning. How are you?
Doing well, sir. How are things?
I can't complain. Listen, I've known Randy Henry for 22 years. My kids went to school with his kids. They played football and soccer. And Randy Henry is probably one of the most honest people I've ever known. And he's straightforward. You're honest with him, he's honest with you, and he treats you with respect because you give him respect, okay? And that's always been instilled upon every young man growing up in my generation was, you want respect, you give respect. You give respect, you get respect. And that was the law enforcement, a lot of them, that's the tune that they say. You tell us the truth, we'll treat you with respect and vice versa. Unfortunately for Randy Henry, his subordinates, and his superiors, they're taking advantage of the man as far as being a whistleblower. The man did what he felt was right. The way he brought up his kids and everybody that's known him throughout the years. And I think it's a shame for this area, for these politicians, all right, to signal him out as a man who turned his back on them, when in fact, I think every taxpayer out there and every voter on the next election should remember one thing. No matter who you vote for people that believe the way you believe, but you want to vote for somebody that's going to be in a position to treat you like a human being and give you the respect you deserve. And Randy Henry's definitely not getting that respect. And, if I could see him today, I don't know where he's at, I'd shake his hand and say, just keep your head up high because, you stand for something, and that's the basic principles of being an American: honesty, integrity, and the pursuit of doing the right thing. Thanks, JP.
Thanks for your phone call. 948, back to the phones, and I've got to take a break. Caller, go ahead. You're on KRMS.
Yeah, I've called in several times on this subject in that you need to keep law enforcement local, where you can vote them in or out. If they're abusive, you can vote them out. And that's our problem. Our highway patrol director is appointed from the governor's office. The attorney general, I don't know if he's voted on. I believe he is voted in. Mm-hmm. But we need to keep our law enforcement local. We don't need for it to come from the Capitol. We don't need highway patrol on the lake. And that's just a fact. We can see what happened. The proof is there. Thank you very much.
9:49 is our time. Appreciate your phone call, sir. Thank you. I've got to take my final break for this hour. We'll come back and talk some more. I've got some emails I'd like to share with you, and maybe now is the time we reach out to some of the folks in our area that could possibly address the governor on this situation. I don't know if that's already been done. I'm sure that it is something on the minds of some of our legislators that represent us up there in Jeff City. So, again, I need to take a quick break. We'll do that, come back, and on the other side, take some more phone calls and read these emails from you on KRMS.
Best Light Hauling and Moving, the best movers at the lake. Now with full-service storage, including climate control. Call them to schedule your move. 280-5339. Their experienced crew will make your move stress-free and easy. They know how to protect your furniture, walls, and home. Best Light Hauling and Moving has been voted #1 at the lake for more than 8 years. Best Light Hauling and Moving, the hardest working crew at the lake. Call them 280-5339.
The 46th Annual Hillbilly Fair is back this Friday and Saturday, and it's better than ever, with food and fun for the entire family. Enjoy craft vendors, a parade Saturday at 10 a.m., and carnival rides Friday and Saturday. And backed by popular demand, tug of war and the backseat driver contest. Plus live entertainment by JC and the Outlaws and JC and the King of Funk. There's fun for everyone at the Hillbilly Fair at the Lowry Fairgrounds. For more information, call 573-374-8776. See you at the fair.
This is Linda Allen, Senior Vice President of First Bank of the Lake, Osage Beach. Did you know CDs are considered to be one of the safest investments for your money? First Bank of the Lake is proud to offer the best rates at the lake on CDs, with 1% APY for 9 months or 1.25% APY for 15 months. And check out everything First Bank of the Lake has to offer to secure your financial future. Located at the entrance of the Outlet Mall, or find us at firstbanklake.com.
Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender. Other terms and conditions may apply. Contact Bank for details.
WCA has staying power because their residential and commercial trash removal services are taken seriously. Their mission is to advance the science, safety, and services of the solid waste and recycling industries. WCA provides portable toilets for construction sites and outdoor events. Ask a neighbor or business how they like WCA's services and their people. From that first call to set up your service to that first pickup, you'll be glad you contacted WCA. Visit WCAwaste.com or call 1-800-35-TRASH. That's 1-800-358-7274.
Go Forth Health Center specializes in acupuncture treatment and chiropractic care on Osage Beach Parkway next to Radio Shack. Dr. Mark Goforth, tell us about acupuncture.
What acupuncture does, it restores the blood flow to the body. Sometime in the past, a patient will have trauma in an area of the body and they'll have decreased blood flow, and basically acupuncture restores proper blood flow to the area so it can heal itself.
573-348-9800, GoForthHealthCenter.com. You'll be glad when you go. Go Forth pain-free. Permission granted to come aboard Bob's No Wake Zone boating radio show Saturday mornings, 7 a.m. right after the news. We'll talk boating education, water safety, events on the water, boat shows, new products, and we'll have interesting guests too.
Down on the boat docks, Bob's down on the boat docks. Let's find out what's going down on the boat docks.
Come join us on the bridge Saturday mornings right here on News Talk KRMS and over KRMSradio.com.
Lois Lerner's BlackBerry was purposely wiped clean.
Democrats' possibility of losing control.
McConnell finally is going to reach his dream.
News Talk 1150 and 97.5 KRMS.
9:53. A couple of emails when I pass along here. This was very enlightening listening to the details from his lawyer. The public has very little knowledge of the details, which are horrible. Can you put the interview on your website? I think we could make it go viral. This should be a huge public outcry to support Randy. I would start by posting on Midwest Boat Party, 25,000 members plus, where there has been much interest and discussion since it happened, but also send the link to Van Harden on WHOAM in Des Moines, asking all to post on Facebook also. Plus, it could generate a ton of hits on our website. I don't know one way or the other if that's anything to worry about as far as the hits, but you should be able to get these podcasts if you go on to KRMSradio.com and listen back to the interview. Yes, indeed, something that if you would like to... And I mean, I can cut it up and see if we can get it on there in just the specifics that we talked about with Mr. Pleban. I will certainly do that and see if we can't get it on the website here in the next day or so. Also, Lee says, great interview. Why don't you and KRMS take the bull by the horns and try to contact the Iowa senator that's interested in this case, trying to send this interview to him? Ask Senator Grassley for an interview. That might be fun. Well, I submitted a request to him not too terribly long ago, as a matter of fact, and I haven't heard back as of yet. I will resubmit the request. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. It just seems like there's so much red tape, my Lord. And when you're talking about someone who's in a position he is in, and in this day and age, law enforcement taking the beating that they've taken here in the last couple of years, it would almost seem like this would be a no-brainer. I mean, honestly, do any of you think that do you think it would make things go smoother and a lot easier and take the pressure off, especially after what happened in Ferguson with the National Guard and the governor? All of this that's going on with him leading the charge for this stadium in St. Louis. And now this has just kind of been left hanging. I mean, there are people that are talking about it. You can't tell me that there aren't people that aren't talking to their legislators, aren't talking to the people that aren't trying to contact the governor and get the governor's response. I haven't really heard anything out of the governor in the last several months. I mean, it's been awful quiet. But there's something that can be done, and somebody that can step in and cut through all of this red tape and all of this nonsense and make this move forward. Like I said, in a day and age, our very first caller out of the box saying that, again, law enforcement, especially the highway patrol, and not the higher-ups, but the people that are out there on the road, be interesting to hear if any of them have been talked to when they pull somebody over or they stop somebody. The kind of response that they get from the general public. What someone would say, and just to put it in their ears a little bit, and if they're putting it in their ears and taking it back to their superiors, and their superiors are taking it up to the folks at the very top. And again, a caller that had talked about the former head of the Highway Patrol retiring. And whether or not whatever excuse or whatever reason was given for this person retiring, I think people in the back of their minds wonder if there was something else that was tied to that. That's the type of society we are. That's the type of people we are. We don't always take everything at face value. So were there people thinking, well, he retired for a reason other than the reason he gave? An excuse probably wasn't the right word to use there. The reasoning behind it. 9:58 is our time. I again will try to get this on the website if we can here in the next day or so, like I said. But keep your eyes peeled. We'll get it on there one way or the other. It's going to happen. I just have to take care of a couple of things real quick to make that happen and get it to the right people. The person who's the administrator of our website. Probably, I could probably get it to Kelly, who could put it on the news portion of the website if you want to look for it there. But we will try and get that done as quickly as possible. 75 degrees now. Looking at mostly clear skies. Nothing showing up on our in-studio Doppler weather radar. We will take a break at the top of the hour. CBS News, local news, and then hour number 2. We are joined by Professor Jim Paisley from Columbia College. We're going to be talking about the Syrian refugee crisis. Obviously, the United States is saying that we'll take some of them. What does that mean? As far as the program tomorrow, hour number 1, David Stokes will join me from the Show Me Institute. Hour number 2, we will talk things over with Ray Bookley from Riverview Technologies. On Friday, hour number 1, we'll talk with Stacy Shore. I think we're going to talk a little bit Common Core and some other topics with Stacy as well. Right now, it looks like hour number 2 may be open lines. Trying to get a guest for that particular hour. Quickly on Monday, Melody Slusher will be joining me with a very interesting perspective on the military and suicide and what she is doing to help get the word out about it. That's Monday on KRMS.